or something.
Yeah,
But their ads certainly seem to be working just fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
you disconnected.
Yep. No, it was OBS. I got a notification from OBS. It should be back up now, though, so I'll just send out a message in chat in a second.
Looks like we're back up.
Yeah. OBS is saying it's fine. Don't know what happened there. Alright, well, let's just continue on.
Yeah.
All it can do is watch my save here with Oz. She dodges one man. Oh, yeah. Blocking the other sword just as it comes at her. She effortlessly defends against both men, though I suppose one being drunk doesn't hurt. A movement in my periphery catches my attention in time to see the bandit woman has crawled back to her feet, her dagger once again in hand. The warrior is engaged with the second man still, and will never see her in time.
Stop her.
Oh, that was close. I look around me in a panic. There's got to be something around here that'll make do for a weapon. Finally, I spot a huge branch on the floor. I suppose now's as good a time. The stick of defeating. I suppose now's as good a time as any to see if these things will do much against a person. The woman has her dagger raised high, ready to strike at the warrior woman from behind, when my makeshift club connects with the side of her head. Smack. She crumples to the ground noiselessly. I stare at the branch in disbelief before dropping it, as though it burns to keep holding on. Is she... Did I... She's a little worse for wear, but alive. Hi. Oh, with the ring hilt and all.
Love it. I'm so happy they're using bronze, too.
Yeah. It's a good one. Alright. The woman is sheathing her sword as she approaches me. The other two bandits are both lying unconscious behind her. Thank you for having my back just then. Very resourceful. Are you okay? They didn't injure you. I'm sorry I didn't get here faster. Thank you, I'm fine, mostly. Just a little shaken up. Never been in a real fight before. And I apologize again for dragging you into one.
By the way, I'm Mhaithe, commander of the Unseelie Sentinels. I've been trailing these bandits for a while now, after they stole some supplies being sent out of province.
Well, hello, Maeve.
I love her character.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. She gestures over to the covered cart. Pleasure, Maeve. I'm the Seelie Court Druid. Mouth agape, I stare at her for a moment. Some small part of me had hoped that I might be able to escape this continuous identity crisis, but no such luck. God damn it. As a Milesian, you're pretty conspicuous if you know what to look for. Not to mention the outfit gives you away. Not every day a member of the Seelie court gets caught crossing the side of the border. Gets caught? Oh, I don't like the sound of that. Hey you, you're finally awake. Got caught crossing the border into the Unseelie court.
Oh, God.
So, Druid, want to tell me what you're doing here? I shuffle a bit nervously, wondering if my answer could land me in trouble. Still, I don't really know enough about what's going on to lie. It's a very long story. For one, I'm not clear where here is. Maeve observes me for a moment, like she's trying to figure out if I'm being honest or not. Wordlessly, she turns to inspect the cart's contents. You're in the forest just outside Kashlan Nadina. Nanina. So the castle of people. Stronghold in Marius at the present capital of the Unseelie court.
Kashlan Nanini.
Nini. Yeah, Nina would be a one person. The castle of the person. So you can understand why I can't just let you leave. Our enemy's court druid showing up here just shy of the capital is a fairly substantial criminal offense. Trespassing and all that. Criminal. All for However, since you helped me out here, you can ride alongside me with your horse rather than in back with this lot. Gesturing over to the groaning bandit, she gives me a genial nudge before procuring some rope from somewhere. Once I load them onto the cart, we're heading straight to the king. On the way, you can give me the highlights of what you're up to. Help her. Might as well, right?
Also, you're a druid. They can't do... If we're talking about traditional Celtic and Gaelic law, Breton law, they can't do anything to a druid. A druid's basically infallible. They are untouchable.
They got that immunity.
Yeah.
I have to say, so far Mhaithe has been nicer and more straightforward with me than anyone, despite the fact that I've apparently broken the law just by being here.
Which is why I like the Unseelie so much more.
If I stay on her good side, she'll be convinced I'm not here to cause trouble. We're going to see the king. I need all the help I can get. As Mhaithe picks up one end of a bandit, I lift the other and we heave them each onto the cart before binding them together with the rope. By the time we're done, the fabric against my back is damp and my shoulders are burning. Mhaithe, however, seems completely unbothered. I have to admit, you've surprised me yet again, Druid. So far, you're nothing like what I expected. It's refreshing. I feel a little bashful from the praise. I faintly wonder if buttering me up is some kind of compliance tactic, but if it is, it's working.
Indeed.
Oh, well, thanks. I'll go get Darby hooked up to the cart. Mhaithe grins, nodding at me as I go. God, she's pretty. She is.
Yes, she is.
Before we get going, Mhaithe gestures for me to follow her to the driver's seat. I nervously follow, but to my surprise, she removes the cloak from the cart and gently wraps it around me before tying it together. Seelie clothes aren't exactly made to withstand our climate. Put the hood up as well to hide your ears. My body relaxes into the warmth of the cloak, as though I was just now remembering how cold it was before. I guess my adrenaline rush back there helped too. Takes a few minutes for Mhaithe and I to unwedge the cart from the rut, but with the two horses at the front and us pushing at the rear, we get it done. Though if I'm being honest, Mhaithe did most of the heavy lifting. Finally, we set out on the road, side by side in the front of the cart. Well, all we have now is time. Let's hear it. Right, well, I very cautiously explain and try to keep the details as sparse as possible, just in case. I was just at my cottage when I saw something taken off into the woods with my saddlebag. Had some important things in there, so I gave chase on Darby here, but then I fell into this, I don't know what to call it, void, I guess? A great big white light. Anyway, I fumbled in and it spat me out here. Don't know how. I've never seen anything like it. I was just looking for directions when I ran into the bandits and then you. Despite my clumsy description, Mhaithe seems to be following the narrative better than me. Once I finish, I wait for her verdict. Did you see what the thief looked like? I hesitate. This may be Tirnanog, but I don't exactly know how common literal horse thieves are, or whatever that thing was. It had purplish hair? Well, it was better than nothing. Unbelievable. Yeah, you know who that is. Damn it. Of all the times, I'm going to make sure this time they don't get away with it. Pardon? Sorry, I just have a recurring pain in the arse to address. The good news for you is, I know who has your stuff. In fact, I think you do too. I sit up a little straighter. I do? Mhaithe heaves a long sigh, then looks at me wearily. Well, we'll soon find out. It's only a suspicion for now. My stomach turns as I think about the possibility of interacting with yet another acquaintance of Dina's, but I feel a minor sense of relief as well. Not much, but at least it's a lead. I don't have to fight a dragon for it or anything, do I? Why don't you have to do something like that? Sorry, it's just been a weird day.
That's something I've actually seen very few of when it comes to Irish folklore mythology.
Oh, there's
There are
basically
not a
no
lot of
dragons. Yeah, there aren't any, really.
The only one that I see, and it drives me up a damn wall, because I don't know what source is correct, but then again, it's the church and stuff, and that would be Cronkruk.
Crom is not a dragon, as far as I understand. It's sort of a bit... It's... I mean, I'm not
weird.
entirely...
It's very weird.
I don't have very good sources on Crom at all, either.
Well,
my understanding is that he's... oh, not again. I did notice that the views dropped, but I just sort of assumed everyone left.
Yeah. Looks like we're up and it's not buffering again, so I think we're good. But yeah, no, the only one I hear words like, oh, Cronkruk is one of the like older of the gods, like before the Tuatha De Danann, which I find hard to believe. There's this druid group in Ireland that has Cronkruk represented by as a dragon, and I'm just like, you know, for a group that's talking about like bringing back the traditional ways and stuff like that, you're using a lot of Christian imagery. You're using a lot of imagery of the group that basically tried to wipe out the culture.
That is the thing, though. I mean, so much of Irish myth nowadays is just... I mean, the monks were the only people writing down most of this stuff, so basically all of it.
Yeah, and most of the monks were druids. They were druids who converted in order to keep their status.
Yeah.
So, inadvertently, they saved it while making it sanitized for the time, but...
Yeah. Sanitizing it, shoehorning in a lot of Christian imagery, rewriting some of the history to, like, include Noah.
I think at that story.
I think at some point... is it Fionn?
It's
Fionn might have... Yeah, Noah's daughter. One of Noah's daughters.
Yeah, and then her husband turning... Them having, like, three men and 40 women.
Yeah.
Among the group that survived, and then everybody died of plague, and then her husband turned into a salmon, which a lot of people, I'm finding a lot in Irish mythology, people like to turn into fish.
People just kind of turn into fish to escape their duties or responsibilities. Yeah. You know, cleaning the house, turn into a fish. It's just kind of, it does just kind of happen.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, dragons. There basically aren't any really... Nothing that we would normally call a dragon, as far as I can tell. There's some monsters. Oh, hey, Ace.
Oh, yeah.
Here to lurk and work? Work and lurk. And support! We gotta support the sheeps. Have fun working. We're playing a Irish mythology visual novel dating thingy. We just run into this rather lovely lady named Maeve who has captured us. But it's okay. And we were also just having a discussion about dragons in Irish mythology and how there kinda aren't any. Not really. So, yeah, Cronkruk probably would be like the closest thing to a dragon, but he's also very often depicted as a person. Like, I mean, if we could also just go with like the Secret of Kel's depiction of him as a big, weird geometric snake monster, and that kind of works. Plus, I like Secret of Kel's. It's cool.
I love that movie.
It's so good. Have you seen the other two?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Good,
Song of the Sea is my all-time favorite.
Right?
Especially when Wolfwalkers.
Yeah. Now, of the two, Wolfwalkers and Song of the Sea, I think I do actually prefer Song of the Sea.
Yes.
I love Wolfwalkers. It's great. Song of the Sea just got that feel to it. Yeah, okay. So, who is it and where can I find them? We're already heading there. Don't you worry. No. We still have a little ways to go, though, so make yourself comfortable. I nod, settling back into my seat. Alright, quietly riding towards yet another menacing capital city is going to kill me. Maeve's been friendly enough with me so far, so I might as well make conversation. Once I can think of a topic, anyway. What's with the birds? That'd give away too much.
I would say birds.
Yeah? Alright.
Yep.
What's up with the birds? My eyes drip to the air as the forest begins thinning out a little and patches of sky become clearer. Squinting, I notice a few crows flying overhead. Seriously? Still? Okay, we got 2 normal crows and a hooded crow. I look back to Maeve, the only commonality for this occurrence. So, what's with the birds? Maeve responds with a short laugh. Do it again.
Not a fan of my entourage, silly.
What?
God,
no.
voice.
I know, right?
I'm fucking slain.
No, I love being stalked by a murder of crows. It's not unsettling in the slightest. Oh, good. I was worried for a moment there. They followed me around ever since I was a child. Really? Why? You're not having me on, are you? You really don't know? No, ma'am. I can assure you that I am clueless in all things. Huh. Yeah. Huh, exactly. Well, never you mind then. They're just my little helpers is all. I raise an eyebrow, not quite believing that that's the end of it, but I don't press her. It's none of my business, after all. As Maeve and I approach the end of the autumn forest, we come to a cliffside with an imposing castle on its precipice and a storming lake to its back. Here we are. That's the capital? It's no Mear, but yes, the stronghold itself is home to about 200 people, with more folks in the surrounding villages. It's not the biggest castle the Unseelie took, but it was the last and hardest fought. King Lugud felt it was necessary to make this place, the last city before spring, our capital. He was the sort of person to take symbolic gestures very seriously. Anyway, let's keep going. The castle town is much different than Mear. The city feels slower, a bit emptier. I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't this. I guess I figured the king would be as ostentatious as Mhaithe. The buildings haven't been maintained very well either. Some of the shopkeepers are patching up walls rather than attending to their empty counters. In some senses, it reminds me more of home, but that's surprising in its own way. Must be wearing quite the expression because Maeve starts explaining.
It doesn't look like much now, but it's a sight better than it was when we first started rebuilding. The war took a great toll on Morius. Glorious too, of course. But the fighting and the destruction was always more intense in these parts.
Between the Seelie's trade embargo, keeping the gangs under control, and restructuring now how everyone gets fed, well, we just haven't had the time or resources to mend every roof. King hasn't been on the throne long either, but he has good plans in mind. We don't have much, but we're doing what we can, and it helps to know we're in this together. With time and cooperation, we might even be able to make this place better than before. There's a twinkle in her eye, and she casually looks over at me as she suggested. Aw.
I much prefer this place rather than the fancier town and stuff like that.
It
I like
is
the more rustic look.
It is a little bit more my speed.
Yeah.
Does she mean me? Or, well, Dina? Is that why she's being so genial? Am I being recruited? I find myself fidgeting with the cloak Maeve gave me. Is a druid that influential? Can't help but think back to
this.
I can't help but think back to what Mhaithe told me. Druids have always been invaluable consultants to the kings and queens of the Tuatha Dé Danann. But Shouldn't that mean the king has a druid in his court too? If I ask, would that be considered rude? I'ma
I'll
ask.
say yes. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I did that one.
Maeve, can I ask a question about the Unseelie Court? Of course, as long as it isn't state secrets. The wink.
Mm.
She gives me a wink and I feel a little less anxious about asking. Does your court have a druid? I just meant I haven't heard. Used to. Not at the moment, though. It's an important position. We need time to assess an appropriate candidate. I can only imagine. That's understandable. I hope you get one soon. How congenial you are. As we continue on through the city, I notice that most of the townspeople who spot Maeve come up to greet us. Oh, Maeve.
Oh, hi.
Yeah? Hi. Won't you come by for sometime for a cup? I wouldn't mind a cup, actually. Thank you. I'll come by sometime. Maeve, thanks for getting my lyre back. Next song is dedicated to you. If that's true, Killian, it better not be another one about tavern girls. Hey, Maeve, I've got something set aside for you now. Maeve pauses at the vendor's call. What do you say? Want to take a little detour with me? Sure. I'm in no rush for another royal confrontation. Not to mention, Maeve isn't the worst company I've had so far. No, she ain't. Excellent. We lead the cart over to the vendor who called out to us, and he pulls out a small brown bottle that's been sealed with red wax. Not too much trouble getting it? She handles the bottle gently, tucking it into her saddlebag with care before fishing out a few odd-looking coins. They can even be called coins. They look more like rings. These days, what isn't too much trouble? But for you, it was nothing. You're too kind. As we turn to leave, the man catches Maeve's attention once more. By the way, I meant to tell you, that old bandit gang, the Nua Fianna, is back around causing trouble. Thought you'd want to take care of it before the king does. Yeah?
The moment I saw that name, I got to this part, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a new Fianna.
Yeah.
Fianna 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Although, it would be, the Fianna were mortal.
Yeah.
Well, no. Ocean was immortal immortal for a short period of time.
Yeah.
But,
well, I mean,
yeah.
He was mortal. The only reason he lived so long is because he went off with Neve to Tir Nanog.
Yes. And then fell off his horse.
And fell off his horse.
Had enough time before he withered away to actually tell his life fucking story, so.
In some of the versions. In some of them, I'm pretty sure he hits the ground and just into a cloud of dust. It depends. A couple of versions, St. Patrick happened to be 2 steps away.
That's the one thing that irritates me about Irish folklore. Is like everything has to do with fucking St. Patrick. Can you guys come up with something?
I know.
Not you. I'm talking about the old ancient storytellers. Like, guys, come up with something more unique.
No, I'm with you there. Because he was there to hear the last testimony and convert Usheen right before he poofed. He was also there when the children of Lear were freed from their curse.
Fuck off. I hate that.
He just happened to be passing by. Every time.
Let pagans be pagans, please. Thank you.
I'll see what I can do. We head back towards the castle, but the atmosphere has changed. Maeve seems distracted by what the vendor said. Maeve? Sorry, I got lost in thought. About the group the vendor mentioned. Who are they? It's a bit complicated. Some folks will tell you they're just another group of bandits. But... well, they don't see themselves that way. And I don't think it's completely fair to say they're just another gang. But that's my bias talking. I used to be one of them before I ended up where I am now. What? Really?
It was a long time ago. They gave me a home when I had nowhere else to go and saw themselves as vigilantes, bringers of justice. They're not all bad, but not all good either. I left because I realized we weren't fixing anything. Not really.
I want to help them help themselves, I suppose. I don't know if I'll be able to reach them, but I want to try. But enough about me. I have supplies and a very companionable druid to deliver. Come on now. You should head to the stables and then into the keep. After that, stick by and let me do most of the talking. Yes, please. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Not a problem. If I've learned anything so far, it's to try and avoid attention. Maeve takes me over to the stables, where she assures me that Darby will be well taken care of. Trust me, these horses eat better than we do. While I get Darby's stall set up, Maeve takes the cart and bandits to a small group of guards, where she starts giving them instructions. I'm filling the water trough when she returns.
Hey, I just want you to know I think you're telling the truth. I hope that makes you feel a little better about all this.
It does, actually. It does.
Really does.
It really does. It does, but my stomach is too queasy to answer with more than a nod and a weak smile. Once we reach the enormous wooden doors of the keep, Maeve gives me one last comforting smile and places a hand gently on my shoulder. You'll be fine. Probably. The Horned Devil. On Dieval Adarhak. Or Irhak. Christ. Okay, hold on. I have to look that one up. I've never had to say horn.
I think we could hit. I think we could actually hit I, and it'll tell us.
I will.
Oh no, that's just the history. Never mind.
Yeah, hold on. I specifically had my dictionaries opened.
Yay! And we are now entering into the location I enjoy the most.
Yeah, nice.
Because it is one of my It's one of my favorite parts of the folklore. One of my favorite symbols.
Okay, here we are. Horned will go with Munster dialect, because that's the closest that I've got. Right, I muted the page.
Eierkoch.
Eierkoch. Okay, I was kind of right. As Maeve heaves open the heavy wooden doors, a wave of heat falls over. This does look rather comfortable. They got big things of meat!
And cake!
And cake!
Yay.
The warmth eases the bitter autumn wind from my weary bones, but just as soon as I begin to feel myself relaxing, something else strikes my senses. The rich, all-encompassing smell of a freshly cooked feast.
Make note of how it looks in here. You'll find out what this is in a moment.
It does look rather round. And you're entirely correct, Magus. Tasty foods. We should start eating. No, we can't. Oh,
fuck it. I'm eating. I don't care if I get stuck here.
Yeah, I'm staying here. I blinked, taking in the strange scene before me. What kind of throne room is this? It's nothing like the Seelys. In fact, if not for the literal throne at the far back, I wouldn't have realized this was a throne room at all. If anything, it's more of a public dining hall. The majority of the room is consumed by massive wood tables covered end to end with all sorts of food and drink. There are a lot of pretty ladies in here.
Mm-hmm.
I feel my mouth water enviously, like pretty ladies and a big hunk of what I assume is like pork, probably. Feel my mouth water enviously as I watch the crowd of common folk mingle and treat themselves to the fresh loaves of bread, steaming hot meats, fruits and vegetables, cakes and cheeses, mead and whiskey. My stomach twists painfully, audibly. Go ahead. Huh?
You're hungry. Eat something. We'll be waiting a while still.
The Dagda's feast feeds all.
There's my patron.
The boy. No,
The best dad.
That's all right. I'm fine. Of course, that was just the biggest, fattest lie I've ever spoken in all my life, but I just couldn't. Even now, I had to hold out hope. Suit yourself. With that, Maeve steers us away from the tables and off to the side, right around the center of the room. The silence is awkward, so I break it. Ask about the feast. So, why is it called the Dagda's Feast? I really should be clicking on that. I'll do it the next time he comes up.
That's all fine.
You know about the 4 treasures, don't you? I do, yes.
I see.
Remind me. I understand. I tuned out a lot of the druids' historical lessons as well. I raised my eyebrow. Maeve was taught by the druids? Interesting. Hey, Rose! We're talking to pretty Irish mythology ladies. Lots of pretty ladies. Yeah, it's not very well known, but I'm hoping it
It's
picks
still
up.
very much in development.
It is. We're basically just playing the demo at the moment. Okay, so before she goes into them, let's see. So there is the Leah Fall, the Stone of Destiny,
Yep.
the Clay of Solace,
Mm-hmm. Sword of Light.
the Sword of Light. Yep. There's the I forget what it is, but it's the stuff that brings you back to life, and then there's the pot that always has stuff in it.
Yeah, the Care Ansik, I can't pronounce it. And then there's the Spear of Lu.
Oh yeah, the
Or
spear.
Lug. Is it okay? As someone who's Irish, is
Okay,
it
so-
Lu or Lug?
So here's
Is
the
it Lu or Lug?
fucking thing. I have no idea. I'm pretty sure it's Lou,
Yeah.
because the month Lunasa is Lunasa.
Yeah.
So it's got to be Lou.
hmm
It's sort of the same thing as like Ohm. Like
Oh, yeah.
yeah. I cannot. GH can be a sound
Yeah.
in some cases, but I don't think that's usually in the middle of a word. I think when it's in the middle of a word, it does tend to be not silent exactly, because it does change how things are pronounced, but it's like a soft H.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Lou.
Okay, so I haven't been saying it right.
Yeah. If you haven't been saying it right, I haven't been saying it right. And I think that's alright then. Maeve was taught by the druids. Interesting. A long time ago, this place, Tirnanog, was a series of islands named Phalius, Gorius, Phineas, and Murius. Lou of the Long Arms, specifically, yes.
Mhm.
Those are his big old hands. Which now makes up our provinces. As far as we know, all the islands sort of melded together after our ancestors left for Inish Fall. Anyway, before they left, 4 treasures were taken from each island. The first treasure was the Leah Fall, used to cry out for the next High King if a line of succession ever ended in the old world. But the stone was broken by Cuchulainn thousands of years ago.
I
The
did not
orig-
realize that was part of the story.
I'm not sure.
I don't think it was.
I don't think it was destroyed, especially seeing as the fact that you can go visit it.
You can, yes. I want to go to it.
It's a lot smaller than it's usually depicted, so maybe that's why. Maybe it was broken and we're just looking at the rest of it. Efforts were made by the druids to recover the pieces, of course, but it's never... Well, never mind.
So it does say that when he went to go see if it would pronounce it as king, it did not sing, therefore he split it in 2.
Well, that does sound like a thing he would do. He was a bit of a
It is a
dick.
thing he would do.
The next treasures were the Clay of Solace and the Gaeasal, legendary weapons of Nuada and Lu. Actually, yeah.
It's just the Irish Gaelic word for spear.
I think it is. You're thinking of the gay bullock, right?
The Gaea bullock, yeah.
Yeah. The belly spear or something.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is entirely sure why it's called that, because it doesn't seem to have anything to do with bellies, but...
It's all about putting spikes inside of your body
Yeah!
and throwing it with your foot.
Yeah. It's pretty weird. It's pretty nasty as well. The legendary weapons of Nuada and Lu. Nuada of the Silver Hand, on account of that one time he got his hand chopped off.
Nuada to Argadlov.
Yep, Argadlov. Which, if any of us have read Aragon, the book about dragons when we were younger, is where the dwarven word for a dragon rider, Argatlam, comes from. A lot of the dwarven speak is just like Irish, pronounced poorly.
Yes. And completely different from the actual definition, which Argadlov just means silver-handed.
Yeah. Well, they're called, so in Aragon, if I remember correctly, they're called that because when you become a dragon rider, they put like a little mark on your hand that's like a little silver dot.
Okay.
Yeah, so it technically makes sense. Actually, speaking of mispronouncing Irish as a fantasy language, but it makes slightly more sense this time, in Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, all of the fairy dialogue is Irish, pronounced wrong. To the point where I did not realize it was Irish.
That's the same reason why Final Fantasy VII drives me up a fucking wall.
Oh,
when the developers came out and said, "Hi, it's Cat Sith."
Yeah, it's called Cat Sith.
Cat
No,
G. It's Kate She.
Yeah. Yeah. I got into arguments about that one. It's even more infuriating when the Japanese translation is like Ketoshi, which is like, that's close enough.
You get it close. Oh, don't get me started on the Fate series.
Oh, one thing I did kind of find... Lojane. I can't even tell what that's meant to be. Oh. I mean, we do also get a whole lot of Sam Haines. It's gonna be Sam Haines soon, everybody.
Yep, I'm gonna be in Scotland for the Samhain celebration.
Good. Okay. Tangents. I mentioned in the tweet tangents. Okay. Ooh. I've been to Scotland, but only once, and it was very long ago. Lovely place, though. It's very nice. Okay. For a long time, those treasures were thought to be lost, but when Finn and Luged, rose up in defiance of King Henri, the rebels were gifted both sword and spear as a godly blessing for the unseelie cause. As for the final treasure, I've actually not been to Wales. My family went once, but I was just coming back from a trip to Korea. Like, they left a couple days after I got back, and I was not feeling like going on another trip.
Yeah, Wales is on my list, especially when I want to get to what's the little island called? It's on the tip of my head. Tip of my tongue. Romans burned it. To my disdain.
Isle of Skye is Scotland, which I've actually
Anglesey.
Anglesey. Ah, yeah.
And yeah, Isle of Skye, definitely Isle of Skye.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Absolutely.
Isle of Skye is one of the places I went to. It's lovely.
Right. Definitely, I want to get up to Orkney and the Shetlands.
Yeah. I haven't been to actual just England yet. Not really.
I'll be landing in London for an hour before I fly into... I almost wanted to cancel my flight into Edinburgh and just take the train.
Honestly, that wouldn't be too bad. I took the train from Edinburgh up to Isle of Skye.
We don't have... Well, we have trains out here, but they're not... We need trains as a main form of travel.
You do need trains. Ireland is better with trains, but it's not really. We're actually really bad. We got rid of all of our trains like 50 years ago, and it's been a disaster ever since. But yeah. No, actually, I didn't get the train up to Isle of Skye. I got the train from Edinburgh to Inverness.
Yeah, and then you probably took a ferry.
No, we rented a VW camper and drove the rest of the way.
Oh, is Skye? I thought Skye was disconnected.
There's bridges.
Oh, okay.
There might have been like one ferry, like a car ferry type of thing. But yeah, it was nice.
No, I see it. I'm dumb.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the sort of thing you would know until like you'd been there and had to go through it.
Yeah.
But it was nice. Yeah, we just sort of camped our way up the highlands. It was lovely. I definitely have to go again. Okay, so yes, as for the final treasure, you're standing in it. See, that's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit bigger than I thought it was. I look around perplexedly for a moment. What do you mean? Yeah, I see why you'd have trouble pronouncing that.
Yep.
Give me a minute to pronounce it. Okay, hold on.
And we can pull it. We can pull it up. We can click on it too.
I know we can. I just want to... Okay, so... Yeah, Koiranshik is as far as I... That's what I'd guess, anyway. Anshik. Oh, yeah. I mean... No, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Kura Ansik.
Kura. It would be Kura, wouldn't it?
Mm.
Oh, higher level Irish I did. And I did really good in it, too. I can't pronounce a single word of it anymore. Or what's left of it. The Dagda was said to have ascended to Magmel after his time in Inishfal. So imagine our surprise when we find his cauldron overturned here, abandoned in the countryside. You know, actually, I said
hate
it's...
that idea that it's just abandoned.
And I've been saying I would click on Dagda, the all-father god of the Tuatha associated with fertility, masculinity, and druidry. He is the lover to the Morrigan.
Debatable.
It's all very debatable.
It's very much debatable, but they very much are equals, respected equals.
Yeah, I suppose
they do sleep with each other, though.
Well, yeah, that doesn't mean anything.
That is actually the celebration of Solomon. That is when the Dagda and the Morrigan
get
slept
jiggy
together in the bed of the couple. Yep.
Based Morrigan, indeed.
Oh, very. She was the one who said, like, "Hey, you want my help? You have to sleep with me."
It kind of just goes like that, doesn't it? Most believe it was left as a gift. Or maybe he just dropped it. Either way, this stronghold was built up around it. Now this room holds host to an eternal feast. No matter how much you eat, it will always be replenished, so the throne room is kept open for everyone. Love it. Food can be hard to come by, especially the farther north you go. There used to be some trade with Folius for that reason, but after the war... Well, the king's of a mind that if you come all this way, you best be able to leave with your belly full. Nice. You sure you won't eat? No, Oh, Maury! Are you giving my friend over there a hard time? The goddess of chaos and war, taking many names and many forms. Have you seen her crows, perchance? Abruptly cut off, Maeve and I both look up in the direction of the dais. Morrigan, where someone distinctly not kingly sits on the throne. Get down from there. Robin. Good fellow. Given name means fame bright. Surname means congenial companion. In the modern conception of neo-pagan circles, etc., the Morrigan is usually called the goddess of war, but her actual role is more complex. That goes for a lot of mythological figures.
Yes. Yeah. Rose, both Witchy and myself are Gaelic pagans. And we follow the Morrigan. So, yeah, we very much know that. She is a goddess of chaos, rage, death, personified and the and foresight, as well as magic.
She's a lot of stuff.
She is a lot of things.
Sort of a metaphor for respecting the land. Started out as a sovereignty spirit. Syncretic Muslim, I think she is more like a prophetess figure. Yeah. Nice. Good grief. They're naked. But this Robin person ignores Maeve entirely, choosing to instead set her gaze squarely on me.
Bah, Daoine! Did you go breaking the court's treaty of mutual surrender just to see little old me? You shouldn't have. Really? You shouldn't have?
You shouldn't have. Oh, hey, catch! Robin practically jolts out of the throne, reeling back their arm and giving it a good swing forwards. Before I quite realize it, a vaguely brownish-looking blob is hurtling its way across the room, right towards my face. 3-in-1 figure like the Fates. There's a lot of that as well. There was some push to try to make her kind of like Hecate, like an Irish Hecate.
She's very similar to Hecate because she is also a triple goddess. The Morrigan is 3 sisters.
Yeah. Morrigan, Bibe, and... oh, shit. What was the last one?
Get the third. It's not Meb.
Was it Mev? Yeah, yeah.
I think so.
Wait, May... is it Maeve? And a fourth who left to become...
It is...
before they became
famous.
It's
Morgan, Bab, and... that's saying Bab and Maka.
Maka!
No. Is it Maka or is it Nemain?
There, yeah, I think what Rose is saying is correct, that there is. Yeah. 4 of them, sort of. It's mythology. It's all very confused and kind of... all just sort of all over the place. But yes, Bibe and Maka. Anand.
Anand, I've never heard of. I just know Bab, Nemain, and Maka. Which Nemain usually would be Morrigan.
No, Rose, you may continue Morrigan-splaining as much as you like. We already knew this stream was going to be mostly tangents to go explain stuff that we know way too much about. Maybe Nemain was Anand in her bad girl face. Oh. All I can do is flinch and fling my arms up over my head, but the collision never comes. Villain era, yeah. When I dare to open my eyes again, I see Maeve glowering furiously at Robin, her hand outstretched in front of me and clutching onto my saddlebag? Yeah, have you not figured this one out yet? It's yours, is it? Gawking, I reach out and grab it from her. Sure enough, as I tear through the contents of the bag, all my things are still in it. I stand there, baffled. How did you... How'd I what? I do see your horns have come back. I startle as Robin is suddenly standing in front of me, grinning ear to ear. Hastily swinging the bag out of Claw's reach, I stand up straight and jab my finger into their chest. Other favorite figure is Anya, another complicated figure who may have been a real person or maybe not, but is also the queen of the Munster fairies. I actually haven't heard of that one yet. That's a new one for me. How did you end up with my saddlebag? I'm a bit slow on the uptake here, aren't I? Was that your horse? You could say that. I feel my face heating up the more I look at that smug, devil-may-care face. Why did you steal my saddlebag?
Me? Why, I never.
Perish the thought. I was holding on to it for you, Dee. You just left it lying around. It was on my horse. I know. It's enough to make a poor kid jealous.
Robin, stop this. You're not a child.
Sure I am. Look at me. A true kid at heart.
Mm-hmm. So am I to assume that the druid's account is true? They followed you through a ley line after you made off with their things for some inexplicable reason? Seems plausible. Right. Well, that's one problem sorted at least. Now we know for certain it was an accident. That should help when I explain this mess to the king. What? Oh, shit. Sorry, I needed a drink.
Oh, you don't really have to drag him into all this, do you?
I think we do.
I think we do. Been to Locker a couple of times, which is also associated with her. There's even a Lady of the Lake myth there with... Ooh. I don't think I've been to Locker yet. I've been to Ireland's one and only fjord, though. Can't remember what it was called or what it looked like, but I know I was there. With all that's happened recently, he might not take too kindly to... Of course I have to tell him this is a matter of security. Sure wasn't a fjord. But I could just pop them back over right now and no one's the wiser. Except me, you, the druid, anyone they may tell. Shh, you can keep a secret, can't you, Dee? I am a actually... Puck and Puka have potentially similar etymology influence. I mean, when we saw the horse that they were originally, which is a very Puka thing to do.
Specifically, Robin Goodfellow is that's British mainland.
Yeah, which is why I know nothing about them.
But yeah, if we go off what you also can learn in God of War Ragnarok.
Oh yeah,
which we have what's his name? Headless Boy. The talking head. Mear. Mear is actually from Scotland and Ireland. He is actually Puck. So, and he also calls himself Robin or Goodfellows. The Fey King's court. Him and his kind are called Goodfellows. So, Robin Goodfellow is Puck.
Huh, yeah, alright, that makes sense. We actually have a Puka in the chat at the moment as well. Isn't that right, Rose?
Robin!
Babe!
This is serious. Accident or not, you forced us into a sensitive diplomatic situation. Oh, I got it. Big man said he wanted eyes on the inside, didn't he? Well, here you go. Eyes on the inside. Trustworthiness certified. We can just tell him that. And ignore the other bits.
Oh.
What? Was there more to that or just an exclamation?
No, that was just me saying no.
Oh,
Shut
no.
up, Robin.
No, we love Robin. That's where we're going over for words for peace in different languages. And Shiakan and she have the... Dude, that makes sense. Shiakan and she have the same root. Shiakan being the word for peace and she being fairy. It's like the practice of giving the Fae flattering names, the good people, the fair folk, etc. Yeah. What? No. No, I'm not going to lie to the king. It's not a lie, just a little bit of bullshit. And we all do a little bit of bullshitting from time to time, don't we, Maeve? After all, this isn't exactly the first time a hold your tongue. Smiling, Robin seems to stick their tongue out and hold it physically. Okay, Robin might be my favorite characters.
Well, they, let me correct that, they are one of the most enjoyable characters in this game.
You stay here with the druid. I'm going to find the king and request a private audience with all 3 of us, and we are going to be forthright with him. But, in the meanwhile, keep a low... Oh, I should have said... But... Keep a low profile for once, would you? You're gonna wait for the mod that makes him Italian-American? Hey, I'm pucking over here. In the meanwhile, keep a low profile for once, would you? As Maeve begins to walk away, Robin swerves around and grabs him by the shoulders.
Could you help me out here, would you?
Robin, good fella. Terrible. And close up, hello. Oh, help me out here, would you? Oh, which one would be funnier?
I'm letting you choose this one.
Ooh, which one would be funnier? I think it'd be funnier if we don't. I blink. And why the hell would I do that? You robbed me. Robin being hot makes you slightly uncomfortable. They're all kind of hot here. It's just kind of a thing.
You missed out on Big Titty Elf Queen.
Yep. Aoife. Robin lets her arms fall to the side as she sighs loudly. Oh, I don't know. Maybe because both our hides are on the line? No. I'm sure we'll see Big Titty Aoife again at some point.
We did nothing wrong.
I cross my arms and step away from Robin. Even if that's true, I trust Maeve a great deal more than I trust you. So whatever it is you're scheming, I'll have no part in it. What? Me? Scheming? Why, I never... I glare at him. Bah, okay, you win. I think they do use any pronouns, so it's just, it's whatever.
I think their character is actually just gender non-binary.
Yeah.
Because they are a shapeshifter.
I was reading the actual website again earlier, so hold on.
I don't think they're a changeling, like a proper changeling, though.
They're not a changeling, no, but they're a shapeshifter.
Puck not a changeling. Puka's not a changeling either.
No. Changeling is a very specific thing.
Yes. Actually, Rose, this developer's actually been really good when it comes to like setting the gender specification for each of the characters and the pronouns.
Yeah, here we go. Okay, Shay and Robin are non-binary characters, which, yep, I knew, and respectively use they, them, so Shay is they, them, and Robin is any and all pronouns.
Yep, I had a feeling.
Shay is also asexual.
Yep.
But could you at least do me one teensy tiny little favor?
Absolutely
not.
This isn't historic. They're literally fixed. I'm pretty sure this is historic. Usually change into a human-ish form, hybrid form, or... Yeah. Usually the way it goes is... when they're a goat, they're just like a completely black goat. When they're a horse, they're a completely black horse with goat horns. When they're a human... I think they just usually have incredibly black hair, is usually the way it goes. But I think in all of their forms, they keep the horns, right? You're part Kachi, so you have a bit of white floof. Nice. Oh, yeah, you do, don't you? How teensy tiny are we talking? The teensiest. I just need to hold something, you to hold something for a bit. No. Yeah. I heave a labored sigh. Okay, we're relenting. It's a bad idea. We're gonna do it anyway.
Okay.
Fine. But that's it. I'm not doing anything. No. Oh, even better. The controversial puka statue that was supposed to be in Anistonum. I guess, but not for the weird moralistic, oh, it's a sculpture of Satan thing, but because it makes us look uggos. Little buff guy with a giant horse head. I mean, that's a bit of a departure from a typical... I am gonna Google that. Oh. Oh, no. I mean... I can kind of see it, but oh no.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love it. That's glorious. I fucking love it.
If it wasn't supposed to be a puka. Without another word, Robin saunters over to the dining table and picks up an entire boat of gravy. Robin. No. I don't like the look of this. Or more specifically, I don't like the look on Robin's face as he heads back over towards me, whistling a cheery tune and dancing in time with his free hand. No. No, what is she doing? As though reading my mind, Robin winks and plops the saucer down into my hands. I flinch, expecting it to spill all over me, but it doesn't. In fact, not only does it not spill, but the gravy instead hangs in the air and slowly begins to rise, a shapeless blob zigzagging up higher and higher with each swish of Robin's finger. No. That is, until he stops whistling. Thanks for this. You're a real pal. Suddenly, Robin whirls and flicks their hand in a far-off direction, pointing down the room. Then I watch with dawning horror as the gravy zips through the air at an alarming speed, flying over the heads of all until it comes careening down. Splat. Right on top of Maeve, just as she was about to leave the throne room. Can tell the writer reads Loki comics. You should be like, oh, that's not what we look. That's just that's Gavin. Sort of weird. He just looks like that sometimes. My mouth hangs wide open, as does everyone else in the room, except for Robin, who immediately leaps to the side of me with an aghast expression. Oh my! Now why'd you go and do a thing like that, Dee? Poor Maeve's gonna have to find a change of clothes. I suddenly feel eyes turn towards me and the incriminating gravy boat in my hands. Blushing bright red, I try to drop the damn thing, or maybe even swing it at a nearby head, but it won't budge. No matter how I shake it, it's stuck to my hands like glue. What did you do? What do you mean? You said you'd hold it, didn't you? But, yeah. You can let that go now. And with that, the saucer is unbound from my hands near instantly, topples to the ground with a loud clatter, and all I can do is stare, baffled. Classic. Oh, despite Robin's joviality, it does nothing to penetrate the fraught tension that now proliferates the room.
Music.
Mm-hmm. Everyone has stopped eating, stopped talking. There's not a sound to be heard other than the faint drip, drip, drip of gravy onto the stonework floors. Maeve, meanwhile, has yet to say anything at all, nor even move from her spot by the door. Her back is completely turned to us, rendering it impossible to see her face or read her expression. The silence is unnerving, even to Robin, who exhales a wry chuckle.
It's all gravy there, maybe?
Lord Almighty.
That hurt.
Yeah, that was
That
awful.
hurt.
That was terrible.
That hurt. That fucking hurt.
I couldn't have said it worse myself. Everyone who is not named Robin Goodfellow, kindly stand aside. With militant obedience, everyone standing between Maeve and Robin step out of the way, leaving a clear path for Maeve to march down. Which she does, quickly, and with direct focus. Someone's looking a little mad, huh? Come on now, I'm sure they didn't mean to... Maeve, steel-faced, drops a hand onto Robin's shoulder.
Robin!
Uh-oh.
Yes?
Goat is back on the menu.
You didn't stand a chance. Within seconds, Maeve had effortlessly hoisted Robin up over her head, and she tossed him in a clean line down the table, hitting every item on it along the way. Impressively, it takes about a solid minute and a half for Robin to come to a skidding halt, now totally slathered from head to toe in cake, tomato, mashed potato, and so on. He groans as he hobbles into an upright position, wiping the slurry of food from his face. Well, it's a good look for you. Can't say I was expecting that.
Ah,
Good. Learned your lesson then?
Hmm.
No. No, you haven't. Nope!
Never.
Suddenly, Robin springs to their feet, standing high atop the table with an entire tray of disparate food items, which they began to pelt out wildly and with reckless abandon, having no care for anyone they may hit in the process.
I know only escalation!
Mm-hmm. Bollocks. Maeve, sensing her waning choice in the matter, attempts to rush Robin and get him to stop, but by now it's too late. Maeve may be strong, but Robin is quick. The game is on, and clearly Robin intends to win. She skips down the table, tossing food everywhere, including back at Maeve herself. A few bystanders attempt to slow Robin down by slinging food back at her, but not all of them meet their mark, which then, inevitably, results in a few cases of mistaken intent. Oh no, food fight. And with it,
Yes.
retaliation! Soon enough, with the feast itself half-trashed and intoxication already running rampant through the crowd, others begin to participate in the mayhem with earnest. Maeve briefly tries to yell some sense into people, but she goes unheard and most in and amongst the pandemonium. Nothing is able to escape the pure, unadulterated chaos of culinary warfare, as the walls, floors, and people between them get thoroughly smeared and soiled. It's nothing short of a miracle that I haven't been caught in the fray yet myself, but I know it's only a matter of time for me, so... You can't beat 'em!
Yep.
I join in, obviously. With a fistful of pie in hand, I join in with a near singular goal in mind. Oi, Robin, catch! Huh? I hurdle my arm as hard as I can, then beam as the confectionery slurry hits Robin in the shoulder with a satisfying thwap. A fair shot. Of course, now I'm thinking you better run. The battle rages on for a while with no clear lines being drawn. It's every man for themselves out there, though, unwittingly or otherwise, Maeve does seem to have amassed a small cavalry to fight in her honor, even as she attempts to de-escalate. Escalate. For my part, I end up stuck in a never-ending cycle of standing both with and against Robin Goodfellow, as we sometimes find ourselves back-to-back facing a common enemy, only to then immediately turn on one another once the threat is vanquished. We're doing the back-to-back fighting, but it's a food fight. Love it.
Yes.
During a brief respite, I catch Robin's eye, who leans in towards me and whispers.
Having fun?
I stop for a moment, the question catching me by surprise. In a strange way, from the way she asked, I almost felt like she was asking me how I was feeling. I am, actually. Great. Now think fast. And with that, the small moment ends with Robin drenching me in a tonic he'd hidden behind his back. Damn it. Suddenly, though, even as it seems the madness will never end. Aw. Lame.
Are you all doing?
Alright, we're continuing on. I think we can get to the end this night.
My favorite character.
Togran Ree. The King's Proposal. All the joviality that was once present in the unseelie throne room abruptly dies. No one speaks, no one whispers, no one even dares to move. I glance between Robin and Maeve from across the room, but neither of them are looking my way. Instead, their faces are respectively full of fear and complete stone, both of them staring off towards the doorway. Tentatively, I turn around. Well, hello. I can see why you like this guy.
I can relate to this guy.
And see a tall, red-haired man with an eye patch, scowling from the threshold. It is really the eye patch that kind of brings it all together, don't it? He surveys the scene in abject disgust, cutting clean to the core of anyone who catches his eye. For a moment, he even lands on me and squints. Instinctively, I look away and check to make sure that Maeve's cloak is still covering my head. Soon enough, though, he turns from me and heaves a heavy, disappointed sigh.
So is this what is to become of my father's court? The Dagda's feast, put to waste and desecrated. Chaos and tomfoolery at the very seat of our hard-fought throne.
No, I had criticism for this choice of voice. It does not fit how he looks. That is way too much of a gruff voice for that much of a pretty boy.
He is a bit more Bishonen, isn't he?
He is that he's got the build. Now if he had like stubble, I could see that voice working. But with the clean shaven pretty boy face, no, that voice is way too gruff.
I do have a sudden urge to put on my torque, though.
I'm sad. My stepdad accidentally threw out my torque.
Aw.
I had a really nice iron torque.
I have a brass one that's rather nice.
Mm.
There we go. Alright. It'll be... Well, actually, it's actually not on my next model, but I have a torque-shaped bracelet on my next model.
Mm.
My king.
Permit me to explain. Is plain enough, Trodur. Oh yeah, that was her last name. Hour of the fight. Yeah. Oh yeah. Ur is hour. And I would have said Trid actually. Tridur. Trojur. Yeah, sure.
Maeve Trijur.
I'm sorry, my king. Things got out of hand.
The king stares at Maeve for a moment, then regards her with a slight nod. He then turns around, facing the majority of the crowd.
All guests are to leave the premises effective immediately. Inform those still yet waiting to join in on the Dagda's feast that it will recommence tomorrow. And know that tonight's hunger was brought about by your actions here.
Ooh. Now go. Oh, did I see a quiver? Immediately, everyone around me starts to filter out of the throne room with a guilty weight on their shoulders. He's not angry, he's just disappointed. It occurs to me that he's very disappointed. And that perhaps I could just... No, we're staying. I shake my head, planting myself firmly in my spot. There's no use in trying to run from this. I'd be putting Maeve and Robin both in a tight spot if I did. I just hope the king's of a milder disposition than he looks. You. I glance up and see the king is looking directly towards me again, but this time his face is flat and inscrutable. It's impossible to tell what he's thinking. Yes? Come here. I gulp audibly as the king gestures for me to approach him, and feel the lingering gazes of several guests as the last of them leave the room. A few of them whisper amongst themselves as they notice I've been singled out. My legs feel like jelly, but I can't tell if it's because of my suddenly shot nerves or my exhaustion finally catching up to me. Either way, I trudge across the room, slowly making my way towards the king until we're face to face. I fidget in my spot, waiting anxiously for someone to say something, do something, for anything to happen, really. Still, I don't dare speak up first. I don't believe that belongs to you. I raise my head, furrowing my brows slightly at the king. Sorry? Without further elaboration, the king simply lifts his hand to me and hooks his finger beneath the clasp of Mhaithe's cloak. Ooh, oh my.
This. Remove it.
The king's hand falls away from me. Instinctively, I look towards Maeve and Robin. But their faces tell me nothing. It seems between the three of us, all we can collectively feel is worry. With a sigh and not much else I can do, I hesitantly remove the cloak, prompting the king to stand up straighter with a hard expression on his face. I see. Another present from the Seelie court. The king cranes his head to the side, glaring at Robin. What? What? Why do you always assume it's my fault?
It is always your... It
always is! But it's not this time. Not really. They just fell through one of the ley lines before it closed behind me. I didn't mean... How curious. Then I gather the assured security of your method of travel was an outright lie then. Who else might you have accidentally let in, I wonder? The king's words cause everyone else to fall silent for a moment, a grave tension in the air. Flan, let's not jump to conclusions. Flanan Maklu. The given name means blood red. The surname means son of Lu. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Flanan. I haven't heard that word before. To the dictionary!
Yay. Knowledge.
No matches found. Okay. Hold on. Wikipedia has it as... Yeah, okay. It didn't show up in the dictionary because it's not used as an actual word anymore. It is just a name. Yeah, and besides, it only happened because they were chasing me. Chasing you? Why? The king glances down my way, anticipating an answer. You know what? I'm gonna explain. He stole my things.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Well, more like borrowed without permission?
That's
Robin.
stealing, damn it.
That's what we call stealing. Robin. Yes, sir. Never speak again. Okay. The scowl on the king's face deepens. He brings his hand to his face and pinches the bridge of his nose. Well then, this is a profoundly idiotic state of affairs. You two, I want this place spotless by tomorrow. Of course. Yep, you can count on us. And you, the king turns to face me abruptly. You come with me. With that, the king briskly walks past me and over to the doors. Feel my heart beating in my ears, and my fears, unbidden, falling from my mouth. What are you going to do with me? The king stops in his tracks, peering over his shoulder. Violating the court's treaty of mutual surrender is a grave offense, Druid. What is to be done remains to be seen. One last time I look at Maeve and Robin. Maeve smiles at me softly, nodding her head. And Robin, of course, winks. I sigh, breathing deep, and follow after the king. Ooh, nice stained glass. The unseelie king and I traverse through the castle halls without a single word passing between us. His stride is swift, but he does not attempt to overpower me, and in fact glances over his shoulder from time to time to make sure I'm keeping up. What a nice dude. but my stomach twists and turns the longer we walk. Where is he taking me, and for what purpose? Robin and Maeve seem to be confident enough that the king is reasonable and that he won't take drastic action. But is that true? So far, he seems temperamental and austere, even self-righteous. What's worse, he has good reason to distrust me. My unintended transgressions aside, he thinks, like everyone else does, that I'm a member of the Seelie court, and an important member at that. Right now, for all intents and purposes, he and I are enemies. We're here. I startle a little as the king's sudden announcement pulls me out of my musings. Where's here? Looking around, we don't seem to be anywhere in particular, just standing in front of an inconspicuous door, somewhere fairly out of the way on the other side of the castle. My bedchambers. Oh my, so forward. I'd say you haven't bought me dinner yet, but I just threw it all over the room. I raise my eyebrows, but have no time to respond. The king immediately turns the door handle, opening it wide, and... Puppers! Bark, 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 bark,
Good
bark.
one first.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oof. Unable to stop what's about to happen, I find myself being tackled to the ground by 3 large dogs, all bounding at past the king in quick succession. Something I can do but lie there flat and helpless as I'm mercilessly stepped on, nuzzled, and licked.
And this is where I got the idea for Seamus.
The Irish wolfhounds. Conry,
Yep.
Connell, Cooan. Conry. Ah, okay, they don't go over what the names mean. Cooan? Sounds very familiar. What does that mean? Cooan. I know it's just a normal word. Hold on. Changlin, help me out here. C-U-A-F-A-N. Is... Ah. Pupper. The dog's name is Pupper. Sort of. It's diminutive of just... Is it really? Because that coup doesn't have a fada in it, so is it actually the right... Okay. Dictionary says that it's a diminutive form of coup, so hound, houndy, little hound. A cute name for a hound. So his name is Pupper. Apparently, the Irish word for a sea urchin is cuanvara, which is like a beach puppy. Vara does mean... Well, okay, not beach. Sea. A sea puppy. Stop that. Despite the king's commands, there's seemingly no end to the onslaught. I'm surrounded on all sides, and they're much too big for me to shove aside or squirm away from in a hurry. Eventually, the king is forced to come to my direct aid, kneeling down and pushing past the dogs in order to grab hold of my arm and pull me up. Get a hold of yourselves, you know better. Aww. Sorry about that. They're very excitable. They probably smell the feast on you. Still regaining my bearings, all I can manage is a breathless nod and a weary smile. Anyway, come in. The king stands aside from me and the dogs, who all run back into the room ahead of he and I. After giving the king a brief glance, I turn my head downward again and follow suit. As I step inside, the first thing I notice is that the king's room is remarkably plain. It is rather...
I take this way over the Seelie court.
It's a little more down to earth, or down to Tirnanog. As I step inside... Oh, got it, yeah. Or at the very least, unkingly. It's not terribly big or fancy. There's some shelves, a table, a cluttered rug for the dogs, and some chairs with a footstool by the fire, but I could just as well see this room belonging to Mhaithe or even an important servant. There's no sense of status, nothing beyond sheer utility. Did the king choose this room? It's odd in hindsight that it's so down and out of the way. Stranger still, though, is what's missing from the room entirely, namely a bed. Could it be in that other room with the locked door? No, locked is the wrong word for it. The door is bolted shut from the outside with not one but two locks and a large plank of wood. Yeah, I don't think his bed is in there. I find myself staring at it longer than I should. Take a seat. I whirl back around to the king's gaze, putting the strange door out of my mind. I get the feeling it's the last thing I ought to be asking about at the moment, so I simply follow the king's gesture over to the fireside and sit down. Though, for his sake, I take the stool instead of the chair. Maeve's cloak took the brunt of the food slinging, but I don't exactly want to go about staining the king's furniture even still. In the meanwhile, the three dogs all pile onto the rugs and around my feet, all panting and warming themselves by the fire. As for the king, he remains standing, leaning back against the table. Aw, a bunch of cuties.
Good doggos.
Good doggos. Where he then removes his eye patch, placing it down beside him. I didn't expect him to do that. I'm surprised by what I see. There's a redness around the eye, perhaps a burn mark, but the eye itself has something strange about it too. Can't quite put my finger on it.
Think me handsome, do you?
A little bit. Yep. Oh my. Whoa. I slapped my hand immediately over my mouth. Christ, why did I say that? Ooh. Unfortunate, given the circumstances. I'm sorry, I didn't mean... The king holds up his hand, seemingly just as eager to move on from the subject as I. Tell me what you know of the War of the Courts, Druid of the Sealy Court. Sit up straighter and tilt my head, racking my brain for what to say. Not much, or... not much. Not much, I'm afraid. All that was a while before my time. Which, by all accounts, is a true statement. I just got here. Just as well. No doubt whatever you've heard has been covered by the Sealy bias anyway. I will be as brief as I can. Once, Tir na Nog was a united land, at least in name. The four provinces were ruled over by the unbroken lineage of Bob Derg, son of the Dagda, who was himself of Danu's progeny. Asking all the... Yeah. He was elected to rule by the kings of the old world, and the blood of his goddess sanctified his reign, as well as his descendants thereafter. Yet, despite this honored lineage, Tir na Nog found itself plagued by a fool, King Anri. He was weak, ignorant, and turned a blind eye to the grotesque greed of the Flaha, and to the corruption in his own court as well. Laha. The noble class. Hereditary landowners. Half the land was inundated by abject poverty and squalor. The average Ghile, the average freeman class of the Judy.
Oh, no, it is Ghile for
Well,
plural. Okay.
Ghile for plural, yeah. Ghile. So, I wonder if that's correct, because Ghile in modern Irish, anyway, kind of just means like... It means a musical dance party, specifically. Unless it's spelled different. No, it's spelled the same. Yeah. It's sort of like a barn dancey kind of thing, you know, like folk music. Lots of...
Okay.
But yeah, it
Gotcha.
means like a a dance party type of thing. A dance, basically. In the sense of a get together rather than a specific form of. Anyway, point is, I guess it meant something different beforehand and evolved into that. Could
Most
hardly
likely.
could hardly afford to eat, and what remained of their meager earnings were either returned to the Flaha in tribute or outright stolen. Yes, that sounds familiar. This is to say nothing of the unfree. Bahuka and Shan Clehi. Sen Clehi? What does that mean? Shen. An unfree class of domestic servants into a Daedan society. While Shen Clehis earn wages, they have fewer rights and privileges under the law and are usually prohibited from free movement.
I need
So
to
like
sit
a
down and
serf.
study up on my Breton law.
Bahuka. Bahuk. An unfree class of unskilled laborers into a Daedanan society, while Bahuka earn wages, fewer rights and privileges, prohibited from free movement. So like a serf type of thing.
Yeah.
We're often no better off than the Fuiri. Furi. Fura. For the singular. Not recognized as legal persons, cannot earn wages. There are migrants, there are criminals and prisoners of war. Right. All were subject to grueling, back-breaking labor in the fields and mines. Do not mistake me, though. Our nobility was not a unique evil. Paulius and Phineas played no small part in the subjugation of Murius and Gorius as well. After all, the king did nothing to prevent the indefinite inflation of spring and summer's critical exports, such as produce. In that sense, the autumn and winter tyranny must have felt justified in working my people to the brink. Tyranna, tyranny for plural. Lord, High Lord, would be called Ord Tyranna. Yeah, like Ordry. Ord literally does mean high. Well, actually it doesn't mean tall or high. Tall. Ard. High. Also Ard. It means both. But not for their sake, of course. Flaha only concern themselves with the maintenance of their own wealth. Gods forbid they ever forego a decadent feast. Regardless.
The most vulnerable people of Tir Nanog were suffering, living existences of pure misery. Good, honest, hard-working folk would watch their children starve. And yet, not one member of the ruling class did anything to stop it. Much less the king.
There were only common folk, after all. Their deaths only mattered if it impacted the amount of wealth they cultivated for their superiors. The quality of their lives was not worthy of consideration at all. We were in dire straits. So much so that it came to the point that the gods had no choice but to intervene. It was not the first time the Tuatha had faced such vile adversity, but in those days it was the Fomor who kept us bound and repressed. Not our own people. My head spins as I take this all in, but one question sticks out of my mind. The gods intervened? We know who the Fomor are.
So here's the question. For you, is it the Fomor, is it the Fomorians, or is it the Favara?
I suppose if I'm speaking English, it's probably Fomorians. If
I
I'm
always
trying
go
to be...
Fomorians, yeah.
It's a safe bet. If I was trying to be more Irish, it probably would be Fomori.
There's probably, if I remember, I think there's like 5 or 6 different like dialect pronunciations of it.
Probably. What do you mean when you say the gods had no choice but to intervene? I'm surprised you don't know, Druid. The blessings of Danu are many. Chief among them is long life and godhood, or even rebirth for the most exceptional. High King Lu, for example. He led an extraordinary first life, accomplished great things for the Tuatha, In turn, he is now regarded as a god and has lived multiple lives in Inishfal, even after our rule of it. Do you know of the warrior Cuchulainn? He was said to be an iteration of Lu. As was my father, Lugid. He, along with the druid Finn, were the driving forces behind our rebellion. They embodied the souls of our ancient kings, who likewise fought for the freedom of the Tuatha. Finn, a rogue druid of allegedly noble birth, infamous for his collaboration with the unseelie rebels leader Lugid. The Seelie can sneer and disbelieve all they want, but our cause is righteous, and my father... The king suddenly turns away from me for a moment so that I cannot see his face.
He was an unparalleled leader, and an inspiration to us all. All that we have today was wrought by his hands.
What happened in the end? Why are you telling us? What happened in the end? So, what happened then? In the end? The king is silent for a moment and then turns back around to me. We got close. Very, very close. But not close enough. We lost Finn and many more good men in what would be our last fight to capture this very castle. From here, we were meant to push on to Temer, and I wanted to keep going. We were dealt a blow, but victory was at our fingertips. But the Seelie called for a ceasefire, to negotiate terms. It was a mutual surrender. My father accepted.
We didn't lose. We did not lose.
Sure, okay, yep. But we didn't win, either. No one did.
Ugh.
Instead, we're stuck in this godforsaken stalemate. Kept the territories we conquered, but the embargo between the courts is suffocating us far more than it is them. And now... Well, never mind. I didn't tell you all this to make you pity us. I squirm awkwardly in my seat. Then, why have you? First things first. I won't be sending you to the blocks, so you needn't look at me so sullenly. But it isn't on Trodur or Goodfellow's word, nor is it because I trust you.
It's because, and only because, your death benefits the Seelie more than it benefits us.
Explain. With no disrespect to you or your capabilities, you're an expendable asset to the Seelie. You die, another druid will take your place. But you are important enough to cause a stir. Treaty or no treaty, they'll call your execution first blood.
This so-called peace, this pathetic truce, it was never meant to last. It was only ever the Seelie's last-ditch effort to stop the oncoming tide, to give them time to regather their strength.
But to their credit, it worked. We're weaker now than we were then, having lost not one of our patriarchs, but two. Finn lost to the war, and now Lugid. Murdered. Dun dun dun.
My boy Finn.
I stare at the king, my mouth agape. What? It is not common knowledge. Only the closest in my circle know, and now so do you. I'm sorry. I'm in shock. Can't believe what the king is telling me. I'm so sorry, Your Majesty. Sorry?
Oh, hold up. Stream. Let's see if you're still working. Yep, it's still working.
Cool. Yeah, no. When it gets this late at night, my internet tends to start going. I think at some point they start doing maintenance or something.
Yeah, I think we're actually about close to finishing this chapter that we can wrap up.
Yeah, as soon as we get to the end of this chapter.
Yeah, I'm exhausted.
Most Seelie thought of Lugid as a villain, a traitor. Why should you care about his manner of death? Well, I can't know the state of his character either way, but he was still your father, and you his son. Thank you. But I don't tell you this in hopes of reaching a sympathetic ear. I want you to help me find the bastard who killed him, and if the Seelie are to blame. I nearly choke on the air, all manner of color leaving my face. One of the dogs looks up at me, startled by the sound. You what? But I are the court druid to the Seelie Queen. Yes, if this was her plot or the doing of another member, you are close enough to the beast's beating heart to discover its nature.
I'm no fool, though. I don't believe I've swayed your loyalties just by relaying to you this tale. For all I know, the moment I release you, you'll go crawling back to the Queen. Of course, if you do, keep in mind the Seelie will be more inclined to honor the treaty than I, at present. So I'd advise against it.
Besides, I can offer you something that the Seelie Queen cannot, or perhaps more accurately, will not. And what's that? Your freedom. Your freedom to leave. I don't claim to be privy to the ins and outs of magic or how it works, but I know desperation when I look it in the eye. No Seelie is as skinny as you. You've been starving yourself, trying to open one of the waypoints out of Tir na Nog and into Inish Fall, haven't you? No, don't even bother responding. I know it's true. I've seen others try it during the height of the war and die in the process. You should know that one druid isn't enough to break through Danu's seal, except for maybe the archdruid. And even then, your window of time is brief. Maybe you do somehow manage the ritual all by yourself, you'd still have maybe a minute or two before the waypoint closes again. You could die or get lost in the void between. Forever. Ruh-roh. It isn't a risk worth taking, trust me. Besides, as you know, the Order of the Eternal Flame took no side in the war, and agreed to assist both dominions in druidic and godly affairs.
I know that name.
Mm-hmm.
That is specifically Bridget right there, and I hope that we get I hope we get to deal with Bridget in this. That would be very fun.
That would be fun. What I'm saying is, I have the power to ask that you be let free, and I will, upon my honor, should you decide to help us. I don't know. I understand that you've had a very long day, so I'll give you 3 days of sanctuary to make your choice. Even if you are a spy, you won't find out much in that time. After that, you will no longer be welcome here, and you must either return to the Seelie or face the consequences of your actions, accident or not. Understood? I nod, and find myself wordlessly rising to my feet. I wasn't dismissed, but I need to get out of this room. I need to think. The king, for his part, does not stop me, but as I begin to open the door... One last thing, child of Meal. Tentatively, I look over my shoulder.
This story is bigger than you and your desires. Remember that, as you make your choice.
I say nothing, closing the door behind me. Clunk. Saddlebag slips from my hand, the treasures it contains sprawling out across the floor below me. I can scarcely bear to look. Erfashiad Gavor me boss. Yerfashiad Gavor me boss. Alright, so boss is dead. Yerfi. That's future tense. Christ. Alright, give me a moment here.
No, you take your time.
Sheed is they, so whatever future tense verb that is. Is it future? Yeah. Go for me, boss. I don't know, it's probably something like they're gonna think I'm dead or something. They will say I died. Yeah.
Therefore she'd go for me, boss.
Oh, it's a heart. We hit the end!
There we go.
Yeah. Nice!
And that is the first book done, the Book of the Traveler.
Oh, there's a lot left.
I think only Shay. Well, no, I think we're actually done because Shay and Maeve's books come out in November.
Hmm.
And that's what they were talking about in the agreement. So I think we got the agreement.
Yeah, we did.
I have to double check. Hell yeah.
No, we did. Yeah.
So how have you enjoyed it so far?
I fucking love it. This is so good.
Oh yeah.
Can't wait to see the rest of it. It is, isn't it? I've not done any voice acting at all, but if they ended up having a role for me, I'd go for it.
Mm-hmm.
It does go to the heart. That's cute.
Oh, nice.
Oh. Anonymous.
I need to find their Patreon, see if I can do some donations to it.
Thank you for playing. Thank you for making it.
Maybe if we keep doing collabs for these, we'll get characters of ourselves in there.
Yeah. Cameos.
Yeah.
There's a door. It's sealed shut. Unlock the door. Password.
Oh, it's for their Patreon.
Ah.
I guess it just unlocks some extra stuff.
Ah. Oh well, okay.
Yep.
The door does not heed your words. Well, we tried.
Yep.
Certainly you had the right words written down somewhere. Did you leave it at home? In your pocket? At their Patreon? Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very much interested to see what their little character creation is going to be too.
Yeah. It sounds like for the initial release, it's just going to be picking from a few different portraits.
Yeah. Also, Rose, there's your big titty elf queen.
Oh shit! Yeah, I clicked past it, but there she was.
Actually, I think we can see it in
Illustrations.
glossary.
Oh,
Coming soon. Oh, that just tells the names and stuff. Okay.
yeah.
Aoife Elavan.
If I can.
We haven't found artifacts yet. I don't think we can get that.
No, it's not a thing yet. World map is still coming soon as well. Illustrations, they said were coming soon.
Yeah.
Consarn it. Oh well. Next time. More big titty elf queen next time.
Yeah. When the next part of the story opens up.
Mm-hmm. Which is it's like next month or something, isn't it?
November. Yeah.
Is it November? It's November, yeah.
I believe it was November.
That makes sense. Daoine and all.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Well, I think that's calling it there. Not much else to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that, I will see about sending us off to someone who is on at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, Chief Macbeth is on at the moment.
Yeah, he's a good chief.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever raided them, actually. There. Alright, well, yeah, that's it for us.
Yep, another wonderful collab.
Yeah. It's always lovely having you on, especially for these things.
I appreciate it. I always enjoy coming on with you.
Yeah.
And we'll have to see about another Citizen Con.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, unfortunately...
I am ready for my Zeus. I'm ready for my Zeus.
Unfortunately, I won't be able to collab with you at Citizen Con as I will be there in person.
Lucky.
Yeah.
I'll have to try to do it next year.
Yeah. it'll probably be back in the States next year, so that'll be a bit easier. Can't do Fadas for some reason, but yeah, Ihowa to yourself as well. When are you next doing... When's your next stream?
My next stream will be on Monday.
Monday.
Maybe we'll be playing Rekka again. I'm thinking we might just do more Mordhau.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, I'll be back streaming on Monday, doing my usual Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Perfect. Rekka looks interesting. I gotta pick that up.
It's at the moment it's short. It only just released to early access, but it is very cozy. You'll love the Slavic mythology in it.
It looks so cute. Okay.
It is.
Oh, I gotta speed up. I'm gonna be back here tomorrow with the Dark Mod, and then otherwise I'm back on Monday. So thanks everyone for coming by. And we're already gone.
Yep, we are gone.
I'll top up the water.
Right.
Whoa!
Hold the line.
We're getting
This
raided!
hamlet shall not fall.
I beg your pardon, who's saying praise kink in the chat? The fuck? I just like it when people are nice to me.
Okay.
Hello!
And